to my kitchen. Now, a few years ago on this channel, I uploaded a video showing how to add edible glitter onto your cakes. The end result was so pretty, but since that video, the product that I used is no longer available. So I've been on the hunt to find something else that you can use to make your cake sparkle. And I think I have found it. I'm going to be using these Magic Sparkles by PME. Now, I picked these up at Cake International and I bought the Head in the Clouds colour. So it's this really pretty kind of iridescent lilac colour. Now, each of these containers have 3 grams of edible glitter. So I'm going to be covering a 4-inch cake just to see how far they go. Now, as I move that bowl, you can just see it catching the light and it's already sparkling. Now, because it is iridescent, we've got so many colours coming through. You can see blues and purples and lilacs, and it just looks so pretty. So the first thing I need to do is to prepare the cake. Now, I'm going to be using fondant to cover my cake and stick the glitter onto. I've got some white here, but I'm actually going to give it a slight colour, just so that if there's any gaps between that glitter, we've still got a little bit of colour coming through. So I want to colour it just a very light lilac colour. Now, for this, I'm just using the Colour Mill Purple, and I'm just adding a really tiny amount. These magical sparkles come in so many different colours. So whatever colour you're using, you just want to colour your fondant in a similar colour to give you a really nice base. Now, I want to keep it quite light and quite pastel so that most of the colour is coming from that glitter. Now, I'm covering a 4-inch cake, and for this video, just to test out these sparkles, I'm actually using a dummy cake, but I will put a link on the screen and in the description below to some video tutorials to get you to this stage with a real cake. To stick on that edible glitter, I'm going to be using some edible glue, but you could also use piping gel. You just want something that's a little bit sticky, but not too wet, as we don't want that glitter to dissolve. Now, I don't want that edible glue to dry before we get around the other side, so I'm just going to do it in panels. And I'm also just going to leave that edible glue for around 10-20 seconds, just so it goes a little bit tacky. Now, in order to apply this to my cake, I'm going to be using a fluffy brush. So if I pop that in, you can see that the fluffy brush allows us to pick up some of that glitter. I'm then going to take that and just push that onto the cake. And you can already see how that is sparkling. Now, if you're covering your cake in buttercream or ganache, you want to make sure that you don't have anything sticky on the board. That way, any glitter that falls onto the board, we can just take it off and carry on using it. Now, I don't know if the camera is picking up just how sparkly and pretty this is looking. And I'm going to go around and do another panel, just making sure that I'm not leaving any gaps. Now, they do these in so many colours. It was so hard to pick which one I wanted to try. And this really is giving princessy unicorn vibes. And I absolutely love it. And I think by having that purple fondant as the base, it just really emphasises those colours and really brings them out. So I'm going in, just trying to go over the same areas just to make sure that any glue that's there picks up that glitter. And I'm going to go in and do the last panel around the back. So there we have around the side of the cake. I'm then going to go over the top. Now, I'm doing this on fondant, but I know some of you love to create buttercream cakes. Let me know in the comments, would you love to see me test this out on buttercream too? So there we have the top covered in the edible glitter, and look at that shine. It just looks so pretty. Now, any edible glitter that you don't use can just be popped back into that little container, and I've just cut down a piping bag just to use as a little funnel. So now that I've covered the cake, how much did I actually use? This was a 4-inch cake, which was 4 inches in height. I've covered the top and the sides. Now, I had 2 bottles of the Magic Sparkles. One is completely empty and the other one is about half full. Now, each of the jars were 3 grams each. So I've used about 4.5 grams to cover this cake. So depending on the size of the cake you're going to be covering, you can work out how much you need. So here we have the finished cake, which just looks so pretty with these PME Magic Sparkles. I love how this one has turned out, and I really hope you've enjoyed this video and you might find it useful the next time you want to add sparkles onto your cakes. Now, I will put a list of all the tools that I've used throughout today's video in the description below, or you can find them over on my website, cakesbylinz.com. If you're new here and you haven't already, don't forget you can subscribe to the Cakes by Linz YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell, as this will just alert you every time I upload a new video. So until next time, bye!